Okay, so this video is looking at sketching quadratics. So the first thing I want us to notice is that quadratics have a very unique shape. Okay, so a positive x squared graph looks like a happy face. Okay, so I remember it as a happy face. A negative x squared graph looks like a sad face. Okay, so obviously the eyes aren't part of the graph, it's just the shape itself. So let's have a look at this question 1. Well, question 1 has x squared plus 4x plus 3. Before you even start the question, this is a positive x squared graph. So our shape is going to be a happy face. Please draw that down before you do anything else. You get a mark just for drawing the general shape. The next thing I want us to notice is I want us to set this graph equal to y. So I'm going to say y equals x squared plus 4x plus 3. Okay, this is just to help us understand where I'm getting everything from. So similar to our straight line graph, our y-intercept is always the last number. Okay, this number is equivalently our C point. Okay, so our y-intercept is actually 3. Our x-intercepts can be found by factorising this quadratic. So we're going to have y equals x. How can I get 3? Well, I can get 3 by doing 3 times by 1. So we'll have a 3 and a 1. And I want to get it to be equal to 4. So I'm going to have a positive and a positive. Now the tricky part. To find out where it crosses the x-axis, have a think about what it looks like on a graph. So whenever we cross the x-axis, we know that y is 0. We spoke about that in the straight line graph tutorial. So y is equal to 0. So let's set y equal to 0 here. So what that means is for this to be equal to 0, then one of these brackets equals 0 because they're timesing together. So let's assume that x plus 3 equals to 0 and x plus 1 equals to 0. That gives us the value of x by rearrangement be equal to minus 3 and x to be minus 1. Please clarify this yourself by moving your 3 to the other side and your 1 to the other side. The next thing I want us to do is I want us to complete the square. Okay, completing the square allows us to find minimum points. So hopefully you've watched the completing the square tutorial, so this should help you. If not, please go back to that. So we have x squared plus 4x plus 3. And I'm going to set this equal to 0. So what I want us to do is we're going to complete the square. So we'll have an x and a plus 2 all squared. If I square this, that gives me 4, so I'm going to want to take that away. Okay, as I said, if you're struggling with this, not being able to keep up, please watch my tutorial. So this is x plus 2 squared minus 1. So what I want us to think about is when this graph is a minimum. Okay, so this is my graph. When is this point the smallest it can be? Well, I know that anything squared is positive. Okay, so even if I put a negative in here, like a negative 10 or something, it's still going to come out positive. So we'll have a positive take away 1. Okay, so the smallest this can be is when x plus 2 is 0. Okay, because 0 squared is 0. So that means that x is equal to minus 2 is my minimum point. Okay, so that's the minimum on the graph, when x is equal to minus 2. Okay, that's because the smallest this bracket can be is 0, otherwise it will be positive. Okay, now we can actually draw this graph, okay, and it'll be quite an accurate drawing. Please ignore all my, my wiggly lines. So we know that it intercepts the axes. X is minus 3, so somewhere here, and x is minus 1, so somewhere here. We also know that the minimum point is when x is minus 2. So I've got a smallest point here at minus 2. I also know it crosses my y at 3. And now it's just a matter of dot to dot and making it into that happy face that we are used to doing when we have a positive x squared graph. Okay, I hope that all made sense. That requires a lot of knowledge about quadratics. If you struggled with any of that, please take a look at my completing the square and solving quadratics tutorial.